Welcome back to another video, how to start a new life. And number one, the fan stop waiting for the right time. One of the biggest reasons people remain stuck is that they keep waiting for the perfect moment to begin. They tell themselves, I'll start when I have more time. I'll start when I feel confident. I'll start when my situation improves. I'll start tomorrow. But tomorrow has a dangerous habit of becoming another tomorrow. Before you realize it, months or even years have passed, while the life you wanted remains only an idea in your mind. The truth is, there is rarely a perfect time to change your life. There will always be responsibilities, uncertainty, distractions, setbacks, and reasons to delay. If you wait until everything feels comfortable, you may wait forever. Personal development begins when you stop asking, is this the perfect time? And start asking, what can I do with the time and circumstances I have right now? You don't need to have your entire future figured out before taking the first step. You don't need complete confidence. You don't need to know exactly where the journey will lead. You simply need enough courage to begin. Clarity often comes after action, not before it. When you start learning, experimenting, working, and moving forward, you discover opportunities and strengths that you could never have seen while standing still. Think about how many opportunities are lost because of hesitation. Someone wants to learn a skill, but keeps waiting for motivation. Someone wants to improve their habits, but keeps waiting for Monday. Someone wants to pursue a dream, but keeps worrying about what others will think. The problem isn't always a lack of ability. Sometimes the real problem is the belief that they need to feel ready before they can begin. You don't. Read one page. Learn one concept. Make one useful decision. Spend 30 focused minutes working on something that matters. Have the conversation you've been avoiding. Remove one distraction. Improve one habit. These actions may look small, but small actions are powerful when repeated consistently. A completely different life can be built from decisions that seem insignificant in the moment. Stop underestimating the power of today. You cannot control yesterday, and you cannot physically live tomorrow yet. The only place where change can happen is the present moment. Every time you delay meaningful action, you give your old habits another opportunity to become stronger. Every time you take action, you give your future a chance to become different. And don't confuse starting small with thinking small. Starting small is strategic. You don't need to transform your entire life in 1 week. You need to create momentum. Once momentum begins, confidence follows. Once confidence grows, bigger challenges become easier to face. Your circumstances may not be perfect. Your resources may be limited. You may have made mistakes. None of these things automatically disqualifies you from creating a better future. What matters most is what you decide to do next. So stop waiting for the perfect Monday, the perfect opportunity, the perfect mood, or the perfect version of yourself. Begin with the imperfect version of you that exists today. Said because your new life will not begin when everything finally becomes easy. It will begin when you decide that you are no longer willing to keep waiting. Your life can only change as far as your thinking is willing to change. You can change your job, your environment, your routine, and even the people around you. But if you carry the same limiting beliefs everywhere you go, you will eventually recreate the same patterns. Real personal development begins on the inside. Before you rebuild your circumstances, you must rebuild the way you see yourself, your challenges, and your possibilities. Your mind is constantly interpreting everything that happens to you. A setback can become proof that you should quit, or it can become a lesson that makes you stronger. A failure can become an identity, I am not good enough. Or it can become information. I need to improve my approach. The event may be the same, but your interpretation determines what you do next. That is why changing your mindset is not simply about thinking positively. It is about learning to think accurately, constructively, and intentionally. Start paying attention to the conversations happening inside your head. What do you say to yourself when something goes wrong? Do you immediately assume you cannot succeed? Do you compare your progress with everyone else's? Do you focus more on what you lack than what you can build? These thoughts may feel automatic, but they are not commands. You can question them. Instead of saying, I can't do this, ask, what would I need to learn to do this? Instead of saying, I'm behind, ask, what is one step I can take today? Instead of saying, I always fail, ask, what did this experience teach me? Better questions create better decisions. Your mind also needs better input. If you constantly consume negativity, meaningless distractions, and information that keeps you anxious or unfocused, your thinking will eventually reflect it. Protect your mental environment. Read books that challenge you. Listen to ideas that expand your perspective. Spend time learning useful skills. Think deeply instead of constantly consuming. Give yourself moments of silence where you can evaluate where your life is actually going. But remember, knowledge alone is not transformation. You can watch hundreds of motivational videos and read dozens of books, yet remain exactly where you started if you never apply what you learn. Personal development happens when knowledge becomes behavior. If you learn about discipline, practice discipline. If you learn about patience, practice patience. If you learn about communication, improve the way you speak and listen. Your life changes when your new understanding begins producing new actions. You must also stop allowing your past to become a permanent definition of your future. Maybe you made poor decisions. Maybe you wasted time. Maybe you trusted the wrong people or missed opportunities. Learn from those experiences, but don't build your identity around them. Your past is a source of lessons, not a life sentence. Every day gives you another opportunity to strengthen your mind. You can become more patient, more focused, more responsible, more courageous, and more disciplined through practice. You don't need to become a completely different person overnight. You need to make better choices repeatedly until those choices become part of who you are. The moment you change the way you think, you begin changing the way you act. When your actions change, your habits change. When your habits change, your results change. And when your results change, your life begins to change. So before asking, how can I get a better life? Ask yourself a more powerful question. Who do I need to become to create the life I want? Then begin rebuilding that person. One thought, one decision, and one action at a time. Discipline is not about forcing yourself to live a miserable life. It is about becoming someone you can depend on. When you stop relying on motivation and start relying on commitment, everything begins to change. Motivation is powerful, but it is temporary. Some mornings you will feel inspired, energetic, and ready to conquer everything. Other mornings you will want to stay comfortable and do nothing. If your progress depends entirely on how you feel, your results will always be inconsistent. Discipline gives you the ability to keep moving even when your emotions are telling you to stop. The first step is to stop seeing discipline as something you occasionally practice. Make it part of your identity. Instead of saying, I am trying to become disciplined, start thinking, I am a person who keeps commitments to myself. That small change matters because your behavior tends to follow the identity you believe in. When you see yourself as someone who follows through, quitting becomes less natural. Start with small promises. Don't create an unrealistic routine that demands perfection from day one. Choose a few commitments you can consistently keep. If you decide to study for 30 minutes, do it. If you decide to spend time developing a useful skill, protect that time. If you say you will finish a task before relaxing, keep your word. Every time you follow through, you send yourself a powerful message. I can trust myself. That trust is one of the most valuable things you can build. Many people lose confidence not because they lack talent, but because they repeatedly promise themselves they will change and then break those promises. Eventually, they stop believing their own intentions. Discipline reverses that pattern. Every completed commitment becomes evidence that you are capable of controlling your actions. You also have to understand that discipline requires boundaries. If your phone constantly interrupts your attention, create distance from it while working. If certain habits consume your time, make them harder to access. If your environment constantly encourages distraction, change your environment where possible. Don't depend on willpower for everything. Build systems that make good choices easier and unnecessary distractions less powerful. There will still be difficult days. Discipline does not mean you never struggle. It means struggling doesn't automatically become an excuse to quit. You can have a bad day without turning it into a bad week. You can miss one goal without abandoning the entire journey. The disciplined person understands the difference between failure and surrender. A mistake is an event. Giving up is a decision. Your goal is not perfection. Your goal is consistency. Think about the person you want to become a year from now. That person will not be created by one massive burst of effort. They will be created by hundreds of ordinary decisions. Choosing to learn instead of wasting time. Choosing to finish instead of procrastinating. Choosing preparation instead of excuses. Choosing long-term growth instead of immediate comfort. Eventually, these choices become automatic. You stop asking whether you feel like doing the work because doing the work has become part of who you are. This is when discipline becomes powerful. You are no longer simply completing tasks. You are building character. So stop waiting to feel motivated. Stop making promises based on temporary excitement. Decide what matters, create commitments, and keep them. Every time you do what you said you would do, you strengthen your identity. Discipline is not just what you do to change your life. Discipline is how you become the person capable of living the life you want. One of the most powerful changes you can make in your life is to stop living for other people's approval. Too many people spend years trying to become the person everyone else wants them to be. They change their opinions, hide their ambitions, avoid difficult decisions, and measure their worth by how others react to them. But when your entire life is built around approval, you slowly lose touch with your own direction. You cannot build a meaningful future if you are constantly asking everyone else for permission to pursue it. People will have opinions about your choices, whether you succeed or fail. Some will support you. Some will doubt you. Some may not understand your goals at all. If you allow every opinion to control your decisions, you will spend your life moving according to other people's expectations instead of your own values. This does not mean you should ignore everyone. Good advice matters. Wise criticism can help you grow. The goal is not to become arrogant or unwilling to listen. The goal is to learn the difference between guidance and approval seeking. Guidance helps you become better. Approval seeking makes you afraid to become yourself. Start asking yourself a different question. Instead of asking, will people like what I am doing? Ask, is this helping me become the person I want to be? That question shifts your attention from outside validation to personal growth. Build your skills. Improve your communication. Strengthen your discipline. Learn how to manage your time. Become more responsible with your decisions. Read, practice, create, and develop abilities that increase your confidence. Real confidence doesn't come from constantly hearing that you're great. It comes from knowing that you are actively becoming better. There will be moments when nobody notices your progress. You may work hard and receive no applause. You may improve quietly while everyone around you continues doing the same things. Don't let that discourage you. Some of the most important growth in life happens when nobody is watching. Think about learning a new skill. At first, you may struggle. You may make mistakes. You may feel behind. If you are constantly worried about looking inexperienced, you may quit before you become capable. But if you focus on improvement instead of appearance, every mistake becomes part of the process. Stop trying to look successful and start becoming capable. That distinction can transform your life. You don't need to announce every goal. You don't need to prove every achievement. You don't need to convince everyone that you are changing. Let your actions speak over time. Quiet progress is still progress. And be careful about comparing your journey with someone else's. You rarely see the complete story behind another person's results. You see the outcome, but not the years of practice, failure, uncertainty, and sacrifice that may have come before it. Comparison can make you feel behind when you are actually developing at your own pace. Your responsibility is not to become impressive to everyone. Your responsibility is to become useful, capable, disciplined, and proud of the effort you are making. Build a life based on your values, not on applause. Choose goals that matter to you. Develop yourself even when nobody is watching. Keep improving even when nobody compliments you. Because when you stop chasing approval, something powerful happens. You finally have the freedom to focus on becoming who you were capable of becoming all along. Don't spend your life trying to convince people that you are worthy. Spend your life becoming stronger, wiser, kinder, more capable, and more purposeful. Let your growth become the proof. Your future is not something that suddenly arrives one morning. It is being built quietly through the decisions you make today. Every habit, every hour, every choice, and every action is sending you toward a certain version of yourself. If you want a different future, you cannot continue repeating the same patterns that created your current situation. You have to start making choices that your future self will respect. Imagine meeting yourself 5 years from now. Don't focus only on money, achievements, or status. Ask yourself what kind of person you want to be. Do you want to be more disciplined, more confident, more knowledgeable, more responsible, more peaceful, more capable of handling difficult situations? Your future is not only about what you possess. It is about who you become along the way. Once you know the person you want to become, begin making today's decisions from that perspective. Before wasting an hour, ask, will my future self be grateful that I spent this time this way? Before giving up on something meaningful, ask, will I be proud that I kept going? Before making an important decision, ask, is this moving me toward the person I want to become or away from that person? These questions create awareness, and awareness creates better choices. You don't need to completely transform your life in one day. In fact, trying to change everything at once can overwhelm you and make you quit. Start with one area. Improve your habits. Become more consistent with your responsibilities. Spend time learning. Reduce unnecessary distractions. Take better care of the things that matter. Then build from there. Remember, small actions become powerful when they are repeated. One day of effort may not change much, but hundreds of days of focused effort can create a completely different reality. Your future self will not care that you didn't feel motivated every morning. Your future self will benefit from the days when you chose discipline anyway. Your future self won't remember every excuse you made. They will live with the consequences of the choices you made. That's why today matters so much. You also need to stop allowing temporary discomfort to control permanent decisions. Growth often feels uncomfortable. Learning something new can make you feel inexperienced. Changing old habits can feel difficult. Taking responsibility can force you to confront things you would rather avoid. But discomfort is not always a warning sign. Sometimes it is evidence that you are expanding beyond your old limits. Don't run from every difficult moment. Ask what it is trying to teach you. At the same time, understand that your future doesn't require perfection. You will make mistakes. You will have unproductive days. You will sometimes lose focus. What matters is your ability to return. One bad decision does not have to become a permanent pattern. Learn, adjust, and continue. The greatest gift you can give your future self is not a perfect life. It is a stronger foundation. Give yourself knowledge. Give yourself discipline. Give yourself useful skills. Give yourself experiences that build confidence. Give yourself the courage to make decisions that your future will benefit from. One day, you will look back at the version of yourself who started this journey. Make sure you can respect that person. Let today's choices become tomorrow's opportunities. Let today's discipline become tomorrow's freedom. Let today's courage become tomorrow's confidence. And let your future self be able to look back and say, I am grateful I didn't wait. I am grateful I started. I am grateful I chose to become better when it mattered. Your future is being built right now. So build something worth becoming.